A while back, I made a video titled How a Slave Overthrew the Empress. While working on that video, I thought about the webtoon from Rashta's perspective, as well as Navier and Sovieshu's. Doing so made me realise maybe Rashta isn't a villain. What if she's a victim, but just not the same type of victim as Navier? This may be controversial to other Remarried Empress fans, but it's something I'd like to discuss. Rashta is still Navier's antagonist, or at least one of the antagonists, but she's also a victim of Sovieshu's manipulation. Rashta was born as a slave. She didn't commit any crimes. It was her ancestors who did. But she's being punished just for being related to criminals. When you think about it, when you go from being a slave to living with the emperor, of course you wouldn't want to let that life go. Rashta felt threatened by Navier's presence. It doesn't excuse everything she's done, but we have to consider her background. Her circumstances were more than unlucky. Not only was she born a slave, but she was also abandoned by the man she loved and had to go through a pregnancy alone. To make matters worse, she thought her child died. Born a slave, abandoned by the man you loved, and now your child passed away. While in the palace with Sovieshu, Rashta does everything she can to stay. At the start, I don't know if she cared about being empress or not. I think she either wanted to get on Navier's good side or wanted Sovieshu to love her more than Navier. It was the Duke from the Western Kingdom who planted the idea in Rashta's head that she can be empress. But in the end, it wasn't even Rashta who took Navier's crown. It was Sovieshu. The other thing I want to mention is that Sovieshu might have only been using Rashta to alleviate some stress. Yeah, they were using each other for one thing or another, but Rashta was in a more desperate position, as well as being mentally vulnerable. She has no friends, she's in an unfamiliar place, everyone hates her and is judging her, and her only ally is Sovieshu. Spoilers for season 2, if you haven't seen it yet, please do read the webtoon second season. But based on what I've seen in season 2, it seems like even Sovieshu isn't 100% there for her. And this is mostly just a hypothesis, but I think Duke Ergi isn't really Rashta's friend. I have a feeling it's part of Prince Heinrich's or King Heinrich's plan to take over the Eastern Empire. Again, this is just my theory. I could be wrong, but based on what I've seen, it does seem like Duke Ergi befriending Rashta is part of Heinrich's plan, and it might not be genuine. So in the end, that would mean Rashta has no allies. The last thing I wanted to bring up is that Rashta's desire for the throne is only so strong because she's pregnant. Like any mother, she wants the best for her child, especially with everything that happened in her last pregnancy. Before she literally gave birth in the stables, the father of her baby didn't want to get involved, but now with her current pregnancy, she feels like she has someone with her. She has a private doctor and a proper bed. Again, none of this condones her actions against Navier. Navier didn't deserve how they both treated her, but I think it's important to consider multiple sides of the story, especially when it comes to making our own stories. As a character, I think Rashta is well created. Her backstory and motivation not only feel realistic, but also add reasons to her goal and explain her personality well. If you'd like to know more about making a webtoon like The Remarried Empress, I've written a blog breaking down the story. The link is in the description below. And if you have any thoughts on Rashta, her behaviour, her personality, or where she stands as a victim or a villain, please do leave a comment. I'm interested to see what everyone else thinks of her as a character.